G'day guys, Curtis here from Spark on the Loose. Today we are going to do camera equipment. In this video, this is all the equipment that we use, me and Amy, that we use on the road to document all of our episodes and all of that stuff which you've been seeing. We've had a lot of questions and a lot of people comment about what camera do you use and all that. So if you're very interested in what we use, this is the video for you, because I'm going to talk about almost virtually everything we use to try and help you guys and just show you what you do, what you need and what you might not need, because you don't want too much equipment and you don't want too little. So we're going to talk about drones. We're going to talk about the Nikkon, which is what you're viewing me on. We're going to talk about the GoPro, the laptop, our storage, microphones, underwater gear, lenses, phones, and what we use to process the videos and the pictures. So for camera equipment, there are three major things, major items that you will use on the road and what we use as well. So the first and foremost is the drones. Drones are very easily used once you escape from cities in Australia. So a drone is a must if you're traveling Australia, and I highly recommend that you get one, as long as you understand the rules and all that behind them. What we use is the first generation Mavic Pros. Now I've already done review videos on the Mavics, which you can see in our previous videos. The Mavic Pro, the first one, the only issue I have had is the gimbal error. Now I've just put a bit of foam there and I've never had the issue ever again. So these are a fantastic drone because they even accept the new generation propellers, which make it really quiet. So these are an excellent video and photography. So Mavics, very good. We've got two of them, one for a backup. We did have the Spark, but since we fixed the Mavics and got them up and running really well, we haven't used the Spark, but the DJI Spark is another great tool with a drone. It's not as expensive, you know. These are dropping down in prices, which is good. So yeah, they are starting to become very affordable. Okay, we'll move over now to our second thing. I know I'm talking brief about these things, but I don't want to go into too much detail. Our next port of call is the GoPro, the action cameras. These things are very, very powerful. This one's the GoPro 7 Black. They're retailed around $550-ish at the moment. What makes these things good is you can take videos, time lapses, pictures, you can do it underwater, and you can actually record 4K resolution. And as well, you can get the really good slow-mo. We use this a lot just because, look at it, it's tiny, and you can just grab it and go and start filming straight away without having to worry about, have I got the right aperture? Have I got the right exposure? This is just a quick grab, boom, we're filming or we're taking a picture. We use these a lot. Between the GoPro and the Mavic, they're predominantly the two that we use for videoing. So now we'll talk about the Nikkon, which is what's taking this. All right, so we're currently viewing this in the GoPro footage. So as you can probably tell, it's very similar footage. It's on 4K as well, so it's really good quality. Anyway, enough about the GoPro. Here's a Nikkon. This is a Nikkon D5600. It is a very powerful picture camera. And as for videoing, it's not that great. And I'll go further into detail with that as well. But this is mainly what we use for pictures. And for example, if we're just doing still videography, then this is where we use it. So we use it for like our podcasts and stuff like that. With this one, we got just the stock lens that it came with, which is 88 to 140, I'm pretty sure. And I've bought a wide angle lens for just for what we're doing now, and plus like nighttime photography. So it's got a low f-stop and stuff like that. So yeah, that's pretty much the setup really. And here we've got the, it's a Zone IQ111. It's some Chinese tripod. I went and bought an expensive tripod, which is in the car, but I was really unhappy with it. And this one only cost me 50 bucks, and it is cheap, but it does the job. I don't really have any complaints about it. So this is what we use, just a cheap tripod, just to get us through. And yeah, so that's the camera setup. So we'll go back to the table. All right, so we'll talk about the rest of the add-on stuff now. We also have the GoPro 3 Plus, the GoPro 4. We only have these because we had them before we left, and they're another great action camera. You can bolt them under the car, you can bolt them to the caravan, and it just gives you that extra bit of content, like under driving footage and stuff like that. And these things cost nothing, so if they fall off, it's not the end of the world, you know, because they're old as well. So we do use the older style GoPros. There's heaps of accessories for these things. You can get like bar clamps, so you can clamp it underneath the car. You can get suction caps. You got your tripods as well, which are really good for talking to the camera. So there's heaps of accessories. One thing that which is kind of a must for us, because we record in 4K with the GoPro, and because you record in 4K, it chews a lot more batteries and it chews a lot more memory, like storage as well. So it's really important to try and combat that as much as possible. So we have an extra charging powered by USB, which sits in the car. And all that does is gives us an extra 2 batteries ready to go. So we're not like fluffing around with batteries, you know, we've always got something ready, you know. So with the drone, because we've got 2 Mavic Pros, they came with a total of 4 batteries altogether. For me, I use 3 constantly, with 1 always in reserve, and I find that's the perfect balance for us. And it means that you can use, you know, you get about 20 minutes flight time per battery, but if you use one down to halfway, you kind of want to swap and put a new one, a fresh battery in, because you might be in the air for a long time. So we cycle through the batteries a lot. So we've got 4 batteries, really good, and just we use the 1 remote. So that's the drones. You get spare propellers and all that stuff, but that's all standard. So yeah, that's that. And with the Nikon, we just got just 1 extra battery on that, and that's fine with the Nikon. Same with the storage, we've got spare memory cards and stuff like that. You don't want to be fighting storage and fighting battery usage. If you are, buy some extra stuff so you don't have that issue, because there's nothing worse than getting ready to film and you can't film. So that's them add-ons there. What we also do, we don't use this often, but this is great as well. This is it's called a dome. It's like an underwater camera housing, but it's designed to get them halfway shots that you see. So half will be underwater and half will be in the air. So you get that different contrast view, and that's with the GoPro as well. And these are great for mainly water shots. So they do have their usage. They are a big bulky item, but they are worth it if you've got the room. With the GoPro 7, it is waterproof, but I wouldn't trust it too much because you're relying on rubber seals that aren't really the best. So what we do is we bought an extra waterproof case for it, waterproof housing, if we're taking it underwater. And you can actually see we're taking this in salt and the rust is already coming through. That would have an effect on the actual GoPro 7 itself if we just took that in. So these things are great for prolonging the life of the GoPro 7, only if you're going in water. Otherwise, you don't need it. So good investment. What we'll talk about now is microphones and what we use for microphones on the trip. Predominantly, we use, with the GoPro, we just use that internal mic. It is really powerful and really good. And for the camera, which we are using now, I use an external microphone that's corded all the way back to you. And this is a really good mic because it's got this little fluff ball here, and that protects the wind. When wind comes in, it doesn't distort the microphone too much. We did buy a Rode Mini one, but we're finding that this is really a piece of crap. It picks up way too much background noises, and I've been constantly fighting this thing, trying to get the perfect settings. And in the end, you just want something that plugs in and works. And this is getting very frustrating to try and work, to the point where I'm going to sell it because I'll never use it. I tried before again, and it's just bloody useless. I hate it. I've got the wind muffler as well, and it does nothing. If not, makes it worse. So not a fan of that one, which is a shame because I really like Rode gear because it's Australian made. How good's that? So jumping on the Rode gear, I gave this next one a good test. This is our commentary mic. This has only come into play since Kangaroo Island footage and stuff like that, and any recent reviews and stuff where we're commentating over. This is purely a studio mic. It's the Rode NT-USB, so it works off a USB. It doesn't need any other amplifiers or anything like that. You can put it in if you want, but this will work as a plug and play and it is really good. Now, this thing picks up every bit of noise, so you have to have a really quiet environment when you're running these things. Not going to run into too much review details of this, but we're really happy with this one and we'll keep using this for a while. So that's our commentating mic. All right, so that's the microphones that we use. There's not much else we use microphone wise. What we'll do now is we'll move on and talk about the laptop and storage. The laptop we use is a Acer Predator Helios 300. I'm pretty sure it's just a 15-inch screen. This is predominantly a gaming laptop, and when I bought it, gaming laptops are meant to be powerful, so I had the perception in my head that if I bought a gaming one, it would also be good for editing videos and stuff like that, but that's not really the case. This laptop, it's done the job, but now we're transitioning over to 4K and longer projects and stuff like that. It is really starting to struggle. So this is probably a good beginner's laptop, but for a video editing one, don't really recommend it. And you might be thinking, well, what would be better? Well, when you're looking for a video editing laptop, you want something that's got very high CPU power and high RAM. Pretty much are the two main things you need for editing photos, and a fast hard drive as well. They're predominantly the things you need. There's heaps of reviews on the best ones out there and stuff like that, so make sure you check that out. Don't go by what I say. What we use for storage, we got in my hand, there's 10 terabytes here, and there's also 2 terabytes on the laptop. Like I said, storage, they're so cheap to buy hard drives, and you might as well, because you don't want to be fighting storage like I said earlier. These are the ADATA ones, and they're a military grade kind of hard drive because they got the shockproof, dustproof, waterproof, well, I think rainproof scenario what's going on here. The reason we got these is because we hit corrugations a lot, and I figured these would be protected a lot better. So that's why we went with these over just your normal ones. But we haven't had any issues with anything breaking anyway, so do you need these? Probably not. But yeah, that's what we use anyway. So that's storage. What we also use is our phones. Amy has the Apple iPhone. We think this is a 6S. Amy likes it, she doesn't mind it. Me personally, there's not much power in these things. It's a bit old, she needs a new one, so we don't really use this one too much for pictures or videoing. Mine is a little bit more powerful. It's the Huawei Mate 8. The more modern the camera, the better they are getting for photography and videoing and stuff like that. The new Huawei phone looks absolutely amazing. It's got video stabilization, 40 megapixel camera and all that good stuff. So I'm actually excited to upgrade this to a very modern one. And it might become a point where phones will actually take over everything else. Like you might not need all the other stuff when a phone can do it all for you. So yeah, we do use it, but not as often as the rest of the gear. All right, so we'll touch on what we use to process our videos and pictures. Yes, all of our stuff is processed and edited. These days, you have to edit a photo to make it look good. It just brings out the colors and the life in the photography, and it also tells the story a lot better when you've got better colors and stuff like that. You'll get a lot of people saying, oh, it looks fake. Well, if that's the case, then you've over-edited your photos or your videos. There is a very fine line, and pretty much you want to take the photo the best settings you can, so you only have to edit it a little tiny bit, unless you're trying to make it into something completely different. But in the end, it's your photo, it's your video, it's whatever you like. So what we use is the full Adobe set. So we use Adobe Premiere Pro to edit our videos. That is a very advanced program, and it will take a while for you to get used to if you're not familiar with anything like that. We might do another video on like a beginner's program, and I can look through and find a nice beginner's one for you guys, because there's a lot of people out there who want to do this, but they find it very hard to get into because it is a big concept, video editing. There's no simple way of doing it. It's a very hard and long process. For us to make an episode just by video editing, it can take us up to 3 to 4 days. And that's for a 15-minute video. So you can imagine the amount of time we put into these episodes. So we use Premiere Pro. For for adding effects to our videos, we use Adobe After Effects, and that'll be like transitions over our faces, hats, and all the visual effects and stuff like that. We'll use that. But we are having a bit of trouble with that because the laptop's not keeping up with the power to smoothly edit. For music with the videos, we use musicbed.com, and I've got a link down in the description. And what that is a platform where you can download everything you want, and it clears your copyright problems on YouTube, because you're essentially buying a part of the usage of that song. So it's a good way of supporting an artist without actually going and doing a one-on-one and stuff like that. It pretty much, it eliminates that. So we use MusicBed for ours, and the new music and all that has been really good. So yeah, we rate them. It does cost a subscription fee of, I think, $10 American a month. But once you get up there and your subs and stuff like that, you really want to transition to a better, a good music producer. There's a lot of royalty-free stuff out there, but there's not a heap where you can find new stuff all the time. And you'll find that a lot of other people have used that song, and you'll start to hear it a lot, and then it doesn't become unique anymore because everyone's using it. Yeah, there is channels like that. So picture editing. Picture editing is great. What we use is Adobe Lightroom. There's probably heaps of programs out there. For us, it's Lightroom. Lightroom is amazing. It does everything that you want, and it can be as very basic or as extreme as you want. So we use Lightroom, we love it, and we'll keep using Lightroom. So what we use to create our thumbnails and stuff like that on our YouTube channel is we use Adobe Photoshop. Photoshop is a great way of blending everything together and making and creating and stuff like that. And that's pretty much what we use, Photoshop and Lightroom. There's not much else we use. Adobe is great. They come in a subscription fee as well. So you can buy the whole set, which rolls every month, or you can buy just individual ones for that. So Adobe does cost money, but it is worth it in the long run because it's easy. Yeah, like I said, there's plenty of free ones out there, but we just skipped that completely and went with the professional way. So that's Adobe. We use Windows as well, by the way, not Apple. So I can only answer Windows related questions. I'm not a fan of Apple myself. All right, so if you are a beginner at all this stuff and you want to do the big lap and all that, get what you need before you hit the road and work it out before you leave. You really want to get this stuff right before you leave. What I would recommend if you want to take videos and stuff like that is I'd highly recommend buying this before anything else, because this is so easy, it's not funny. And you can shoot in 1080p, I think it's 24 frames or 30 frames per second. And that'll get you a long life and long storage out of these things as well. So that is my number one. This, and I think there's DJI have got one as well if you wanted to look up a cheaper option. They both do the same stuff. This, number one. Number two would definitely be a drone. If you can't afford, I think these like $1.5 grand. If you can't afford these, that's fine. Get the Spark. The Spark's pretty good. And you've also got the Air as well. They're your two other ones. I've noticed the Air's had a couple of annoying issues, so research that beforehand. The Spark is good, but it's very limited with its range. This one I can actually fly about 6 kilometers away, as long as I can see it if I wanted to. You probably spent $500 on a GoPro, so now you're probably running out of money for a drone. With drones, you pay for what you get. This is a Mavic 1, you've got the Mavic Pro Platinum, and you've also got the new Mavic 2s. The Mavic 2s are like $2,500, which they look really good, and that's what I'd upgrade to. So if money's not an issue, go straight to the 2. These are great. These are like a mid-range one, and then you got your Spark and your Air as the lower end one. But like I said, price, quality, these will produce amazing pictures and videos, whereas the lesser ones won't. So just make sure you get that one. And then for cameras, it's personal preference with digital cameras. So just get one that you like, really. We like the Nikon. It's a great picture camera. For videoing, not so great. It's got funny issues with the D5600, but for a picture, whew, really good camera. And yeah, what else do you need? If you wanted to talk to the cameras, you could just get, this one's a cheap microphone. Less than 50 bucks for this thing. It's beautiful. But yeah, it's about all you need, really. I mean, you could use a laptop as well if you wanted to edit on the road, but make sure you get a good one. This one costs around $2,000, and that's mid-range, and it shows for itself. Like the drones, you get what you pay for. You get one under $2,000, you're gonna really start struggling editing stuff. So yeah, that's it. I don't think I've got anything else to say. If I've missed anything, let me know in the comments and I'll answer it. And I could even do another video as well and really focus on certain topics like, you know, like what resolution should I film in, what frames per second and all that stuff. Because that's all, that's another big ballpark game. So yeah, I hope I helped a lot of you guys out, and yeah, enjoy. Leave us a thumbs up and subscribe if you're new. And thanks for watching. Spark it in the days. My drink.
Water?
Yeah. All right, so for camera equipment, there are 3 major things that we use to record and also take pictures.
You got 4 fingers up, even I'm confused. Okay, so there you go. Don't want me. And
it flies, you know, 7Ks, you know. Look at this.